So, Gavin, you opened a 15 to 17 note, or 14 plus to 17. Okay.
Yeah, Steve, he doesn't play his cards as well
That's what I
nowadays
figured.
as he used to, and I was a little bit on tilt from our blown defense on the board before. It seemed like we were nothing really. We had nothing going. I didn't really expect it at this point in this set that we were in the lead for starters, and I thought it was just like a marginal, swingy kind of tiny swing action. Not that much bad's going to happen to me. I mean, if Steve bids 6-0, I'm not going to be thrilled, or it doesn't. But I didn't think that I have three of both majors, so if he transfers me to a major, I'm happy. I kind of wanted to play, and also I had the type of hand not vulnerable against vulnerable, that if that could easily be the opponent's hand for game, and it's not that easy for them to find it after I've opened a no trump. So it was like a small semi-psych that put me in the driver's seat on this hand.
Right. I mean, I guess if you reverse the East and South hands, now 1-0 is just a huge winner because both hands will just
Yeah,
sort
I
of be
call it a
shut out of the
semi-psych
action.
because it could work both ways. It's
Right.
if my partner bids game, I certainly have a good enough hand to have a shot at making it, and if it's the opponent's hand, then I've done pretty well.
Right. Right. Exactly. And so, over 1-0, Steve, you just chose to bid 3 now.
I did. Well, I know that Gavin plays his 1-0 is about 9 to 15, so I thought with that range, 3-0 would be the best contract. Now, I had options. I could either bid 2 clubs Stamen, 3 clubs Puppet Stamen, or 3-0. And one of the problems with Puppet Stamen is why you have to be careful when you do it is 3 clubs is the easiest bid for them to double. So now it's giving them a situation where they're going to beat you in a game when they had no right to be able to get in a double. So instead of bidding puppet, I could bid 2 clubs, but then I'm telling them a lot about Gavin's hand. And really, one of the most important points is people, when you don't stamen, have a tendency to lead majors. And there's been books written on double dummy analysis and leading 3-card suits, like we saw Jason lead from his Jack third earlier. And I feel like the way to absolutely destroy this new tendency is to stamen as little as possible. And I love bidding 3-0 as much as I can. And at some point, I'm going to balance my range more, and people are going to have to guess. But at this point, it's
Yeah.
perfect.
I'm definitely going to start leading clubs against you. It's definitely. I'm not leading clubs when you stamen, that's for sure.
Exactly.
Yeah, he'll have ace king third at a minimum.
But
Maybe you want 2 clubs to be to play now.
right. I really
So
do.
you use 2 clubs as natural stamen.
The opening leader goes overboard leading a major, and when you simulate bridge hands, you really just don't know what hands that a clever player is going to stamen or not stamen with, and it really makes the simulations faulty. And you can see from my hand, this is not a hand that would be in any simulation.
No, no. And neither would Gavin's.
Right. Exactly.
No, but you did just call yourself clever.
I know,
live
I
on
love
the
it.
internet. You heard it here first, everybody. Steve's clever.
I don't remember doing that, but I accept it.
It's recorded.
Yeah. So you started out by cashing 4 rounds of hearts, and then I'll turn it over to you, Gavin. What was your thought process on this?
Yeah, so they started by leading a heart from Queen fourth, and on the 4th round of hearts, West pitched the 6 of clubs upside down, and I knew he was encouraging a club, but I also knew that his partner didn't know that he was encouraging a club because the 6 was, I had the 5-4-3, and now the next trick, East took a really long time to play. This is not an easy play for East. He couldn't tell that the 6 was high. He could have easily been playing the 6 of clubs from King 6-4-3 or Jack 6-4-3. So he really didn't know what the attitude was. So he took a while to play. So he played back the 2 of clubs and it went Queen King Ace. He eventually decided it was low and went Queen King Ace. And so I didn't know enough about the hand really. The 2 of clubs back made it look like it was probably like it could easily be. Looked like it was from low from 3 or a singleton. And so, but anyway, so I cashed my diamonds. I played 4 rounds of diamonds, and I found out a ton more information. I found out 2 things. One was West pitched a small club, and 2 was who had 4 diamonds. So at this point in the hand, I really needed to know I needed to solve the queen of spades, and a couple things about this spot. So one was that West encouraged clubs. If he didn't have the jack of clubs, then it would have been, he wouldn't be so inclined to tell his partner to play clubs. He didn't know that the clubs were going to be so hard for his partner to read. He played the 6 thinking, I want a club back. So I really thought he had the jack of clubs. And the fact that the fact that the 2 came back, it seemed like West had 5 clubs, but at this point, if the spades are 3-3, it doesn't really matter who I play the queen, who I play for the queen, and because it's equal odds who to play for the queen. But if spades are 4-2, West can't have 4 of them because I know he still has the jack of clubs. The most he can have is 3 spades. So if he's got a doubleton spade, now I'm thinking, okay, well, if he's got too little, and it's queen 9/4 with East, then I don't have the entries to solve the suit. I can play small to the king and the jack, and they'll cover with the queen. So there's only 2 different 4-2 holdings that I can actually cater to, and that's if West has 9 doubleton of spades, and in which case I could play to the king and then play the jack, and when it and run the jack, and if they cover, then my 10-8 will be good. Or if West has queen doubleton, I can play to my jack and then play the king. And so really, at this point, I decided that East was going to have 4, that they were either 3-3 or spades were 4-2. So now, when picking between those 2 holdings, I figured if East had queen 4th of spades and queen 4th of hearts, it was kind of a coin flip which he would lead from. So the fact that he led a heart means he's probably less likely to have 4 spades to the queen, because if he had 4 spades to the queen, he might have led the spade from 4 spades to the queen. So I decided to play West for the queen of spades because I had the little edge of if spades were 4-2, I thought he was more likely to have doubleton queen than doubleton 9. So that's how I played a spade to the jack.
It's a cute restricted choice position. And so you played a spade to the jack and made 3.
Very happy when that won. Before I opened 1-0 and I wasn't thinking we were in a great spot in the match. When the jack of spades held, I was a lot happier about our position. I still didn't think a lot was going on. We really needed our teammates to have a good game, but I knew if the jack of spades lost to the queen, we were in a lot of trouble.
Right, but I mean, if you open a no trump, you sort of have to justify it.
Yeah, I better. That's really at the end of the day when I was thinking about this. I'm like, I better think this through. I'm not going to make a bad play after the amount of crap I'm going to have to take from Steve after stealing the dummy from him. And meanwhile, I would have ended up declare anyway if I opened a club, but another story.
So in the other room,
Steve, your volume's off. I don't hear you or whatever you said. Which is, I'm sure I'm happy about that.
It was much better that way.
Yeah. So in the other room, the declarer basically faced the same problem, but as you were saying, Gavin, you were able to draw a lot of inferences from their defense. Was there any way to try to cause declarer to go wrong, or after?
Well, I mean, I actually think that with West's hand on the discard, once West sees that they're going to cash 4 hearts, it's actually it would make a lot of sense for them to do something a little bit less, less clear on like holding the queen of spades. They can sort of see what the situation. I know it's hard. They have to make a discard, but in reality, West could say, okay, well, I know that they have, because there's. West already knows I've opened a 13-point no trump, right? I think at some point in this hand he did say like, "What's your range?" What's going on here? But he has 13 points. He's seen partner have a queen, so he knows that the partner has no more high card points. He can literally see that this hand is going to come down to a spade guess. So, I mean, on some level, he might be able to work out that
right, and
that this was going to play out, but it's kind of sick.
Right, and in the other room, which is what I'm looking at here, Greg didn't have that same, or at least not all of that same information that partner can only have a queen, but even still, declarer only has 13. Partner maybe has another jack, but probably not much more than that, and so I mean, I think that there is sort of that vision of the ending where. Declarer is either going to have to guess the spade suit or just only has 8 tricks. and just trying to be as
Yeah, I'm
deceptive as
saying, what would
possible.
you do if you wanted the player to go wrong? What would you do? Would you encourage diamonds? But if you encourage diamonds, the player is going to think, well, he doesn't want his partner to play a spade.
Right.
I don't know. Why would everything's kind of smelly. I think that it's kind of unlucky that to hold the doubleton spade and to have the player get enough information to know that your partner is the long hand in spades, and still they finesse you for the queen.
Yeah, and Declarer here went right as well, and so there's not much more here, but so it's sort of an interesting place for a deceptive defense, but it's not really clear what the right deceptive defense is, or even if there is one.
Yeah, I think that I think I talked to Raghu about this hand. I think what he explained was that once he found out that East was 4-4-4-1, that it was sort of an interesting variation on a restricted choice.
Right.
Where if East had Queen fourth of spades, he might have chosen to lead a spade. And because he chose to lead a heart, he thought it was more likely that he didn't have a queen. It's pretty thin.
That was sort of what Gavin and I were getting at a little bit as well. And
right.
Yeah, it's a very interesting concept that you don't see very much. But restricted choice doesn't just have to be, when you have a 9-card suit and you're trying to decide whether to finesse, for that matter, if I can get my thoughts straightened out, when there's splitting with an honor or whatever, when you have a 9-card suit, it doesn't just have to be that. It can apply to a number of other situations where a player has to decide between two very similar holdings, and it isn't as likely, but it's still there.
Maybe I'm giving away too much information here, but if I had Queen 5-4-3 or Queen 7-6-3, I'd pretty much always lead from the Queen 7-6-3 if it was a total toss-up and had nothing else to go on.
Yeah, well, that 7's powerful. But yeah, I think actually a lot of players have sort of theories like that. Whereas if you had Queen 9-5-4 or Queen 9-5-3 versus Queen 7-6-3, then you'd lead a spade.
Right. It's funny. You would always lead from Queen 7-6-3 instead of Queen 5-4-3. Really?
if it was totally in a vacuum and I had nothing else.
Yeah. Can that spot ever matter? Could it ever matter? I wonder.
I would think so. You had like something like a doubleton spot and dummy.
Yeah, I give dummy like doubleton 10-9 and
give partner King 8-3. Or no, partner needs King Jack 3rd. Yeah, if you give partner like King Jack 3rd, then you need the 7. Yeah,
because your 7 will. Yeah.
But right. So just the other side, can Queen 7-6-4 could block, right? Queen 7-6-4 could block if they've got 8-9 doubleton opposite Jack 10 doubleton and partner wins the king. They're going to have to underlead from Ace King 5th to your queen, risking Declare having Queen doubleton, right? To unblock the suit. So there's
maybe you should lead third
partner would have overcalled a heart with Ace King 5th. Though.
After one no pass 3-no, yeah.
I meant at our table after I'll pass it on.
Yeah, at our table they didn't open a no trump with your hand.
Yeah.
No imagination.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Playing precision, they did not choose to upgrade his hand. So it's interesting, actually.
Were they playing 14-16 no trump and they didn't open one no? Is that what happened?
I think so. Yeah.
Really? Well, maybe I got to check my evaluation.
You just wanted to give Steve a break.
But Steve came down with a 12 count, and you had to guess it perfectly to make it.
Yeah, a 12 count with 3 10s, a 9, an 8, and like 2 4-card suits.
To be fair, it was like the worst 12 count. He made my Jack of Diamonds almost worthless. His Queen of Clubs was nothing. His Jack 10 of Hearts were useless. Like he called 12 points. But I only used 9 of them.
Yeah, Steve, you should have invited.
I know, I'm off mute now, so you got to be careful. I'm trying to bite my lip.
Alrighty, well, before we start opening 1-0 on 10 counts, let's move on to board 10.
You had the 10 of spades, Steve, or else you would have gone down.
Yes, exactly.
Well, it's good he opened 1-0 because it was the only way to get the game.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
That was exactly why I opened one.
Well,
I wanted to
considering
just
how
make
bad
sure
your
we didn't
12
end
count
up
was, Steve.
Considering we needed to play like for queen and one spade, it probably shouldn't even be in game.
yeah, right.
Exactly. So this is sort of an interesting method situation here on board 10. So when West opened a strong no trump, you had two diamonds showing diamonds in a major. What do you guys prefer over your opponent's one no openings?
I like don't. I'm a big fan of don't. I don't think that's I don't know if that's Gavin's preferred or not, but he plays it because I like it.
Deal with it. I like Don't a lot better in the bounce. See, I like Woolsey over 1-0. I mean, parts of it. I love being able to overcall two clubs for the majors. Then it helps you back into some games and win some partials. And the thing that like this negative of not being able to overcall my major. I don't think it's such a big deal at teams to end up playing two diamonds when we have two hearts, but at pairs I hate the idea of having to overcall my 4-card minor with a 5-card major. I guess at pairs, even if I would show this hand as a single suited heart hand if I was playing pairs, honestly, and playing this method.
Yeah, I mean, I know that like the junior, like the people older than you, between you and my age, Adam, like Joe Grew and Hurd and all those guys, I know that they like double penalties, two club majors, but I like two clubs to be clubs in a major, so it's sort of a modified don't. Two diamonds in a major, two hearts majors, and then there's some extensions with good hands. And I understand that you could be 5-4 either way, and you end up sometimes in the wrong fit theoretically. But you know, I think the gods that don't will just protect you, and you'll end up in the right contract. That's just what it works.
The gods of a convention that comes with instructions for use in its name. Yeah, no, I'm very much a Woolsey person. I also just absolutely love the two clubs showing majors, so much so that when I was playing with Dana Berkowitz, that was all we played, just Landy, and it would blow everybody's mind when we bid a natural two diamonds.
Yeah,
I've never won so many imps for the tree. It was unbelievable, but yeah, it's sort of just a fun style question here. Yeah, and so Steve, you're not bothered at all, even at match points, by losing your major suit fits here? Or?
I'm not really, because sometimes I won't show a two suiter if I have a concentrated major, and you know my partner knows when he's equal that we're playing match points also. And match points always feels to me like they take care of themselves. It feels like in match points, if you just play well, you're going to do well, and little things like these details don't affect anything.
Okay.
Maybe for you, you're Steve Weinstein, you're 52 hands. I don't really care about whether there's a small edge in the system. I'm going to make it up in the other 51 hands where I'm awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, for the rest of us, picking superior methods is part of playing better.
Yeah, I see.
So then you chose to bump to 4 diamonds. 5-4-2-2. Were you a little worried, or were you comfortable bumping?
Not really. I mean, they're not looking at my hand. I have pretty good diamonds. They don't know that I don't have some freak 5-5-2-1 type hand. We have enough trumps that it's just very unlikely they're going to double and get us. When you make a bid like that, if they could see your hand, you'd be worried. But when you picture it from your opponent's perspective, with the hands that you might have, it's a lot safer. When you're not just looking at your hand, but looking at your hand from your opponent's perspective, it gives you a lot more leeway to make bids that are out there.
There's also, I mean, you have a lot. I mean, it definitely seems from your perspective that I have 5-5. I came in vulnerable after you've already passed, and you know the opponents are inviting games. So you know I've done it on a marginal, some almost opening bid because you have 4 points, and you know the opponents have like 24 or whatever. You know I have 11 or so points. So it's not like I'm going to be just coming in on every 11 count. I'm going to be 5-5 here a lot, I would guess.
Right. I mean, my hand, I think it's an automatic 4 diamond, but just in general, is a general idea. You have to realize they're not looking at your hand. But this hand with 5 good trumps and not that many losers is pretty auto.
Right. And so they got to 4 spades, and I don't think there was too much in the play here.
I don't remember. I think I let a diamond trying to tap him.
Yeah. But you don't have enough timing to tap. Yeah.
Right. We didn't have enough stuff, but that was my goal.
Exactly. Even after pumping him, you won the ace of diamonds, then played a spade. You haven't won. and and even after tapping him, then now after he drew one more trump, finding out the bad news, you were still sort of a trick behind.
Yeah.
And, he just had plenty of tricks at this point. Well, actually, he just had 10 tricks, which was 4 spades, a diamond, and 3 clubs, or 5 clubs rather. Anyway, in the other room, there was a lot of interesting stuff going on.
Jason decided he made enough practical bids for one round and really wanted to torture me on this hand.
Well, it's about time. So I guess we'll start with your decision to make a negative double here.
Right, as we mentioned, we were going to play Transfer Lebensal, and we said we needed to talk about it first, and then it didn't happen, so we weren't. So I was like, I wish we were playing Transfer Lebensal, because then I would just have a simple bid to bid 3 hearts, showing an invitational or better hand with spades. He could bid 3 spades, I can bid 3 no, and I would show my hand perfectly. Whereas now I could, if I bid 3 spades, I know he's not going to bid 3 no hardly ever, so we're pretty much either I've got to make a decision right now, do I want to play in 3 no or do I want to play in 4 spades?
Well, I mean, personally, I thought that you would snap the double and it didn't really get across online. But
so I figured I'd start slow with double and partner and see what happens. I'd get a chance at the next round. I figured I could double and cube it, and that would kind of.
Yeah, and so then after 3 clubs, you got to torture Greg again with 3 hearts here. And so, what were you sort of, I mean, I guess 3 hearts is asking for a stopper, or what were you looking for?
You have 4, I have the first 2 stoppers, you have the 3rd?
Partly, I guess I wanted to see what he would do if he bid. If
he bid 4 clubs,
I felt like if he bid 3 spades, he probably had 3 spades here, or at least then I would raise that to 4 out like I did. If he bid 4 of a minor,
you would cry.
Yeah, you would not be too thrilled if you bid 4 of a minor.
I don't know what I was planning on bidding 4 spades. I don't know what that.
Yeah, I mean, I was already crying at this point.
How that would be.
Yeah, I'm sure you were crying all the way, especially after
hold on a
you raised
second.
to 4.
Wait a second. What's wrong with your hand here?
No. I mean, I felt very.
You opened your strong no trump. You bid your 5 card solid suit. You supported partners. 4 card major with your max 3 card holding in spades. Crying.
Right. On my hand,
your cards were on the table. Nobody can give you crap about one hand.
But Greg's just dramatic about this.
No. What I obviously meant was that if I had the hand that was going to bid 4 of a minor, I certainly would have.
No, you would be crying for sure. Yeah.
Yes.
I actually was very lucky that my bids were totally automatic.
I thought this would show a stopper, but
yeah.
Because I thought, like I said, I thought this would show a stopper by doubling and cube bidding, because I could have bid 2 no, then 3 hearts, so I could have just bid 3 hearts directly.
I think the lesson here is to know what you're playing over interference when you open one now.
Well, we knew what we were playing.
We were playing Lebensal and negative doubles. That's what we were playing.
Yeah, you just didn't talk about
know how to play what you're playing. That would be lesson number 2.
Yes.
What would you guys have bid over here? Just bid 3 spades or bid 3 no, or what?
Well, you were playing Transfer Lebensal, right?
No, we weren't playing Transfer Lebensal. I was saying I wish we were.
Oh, you weren't playing. Yeah. I mean,
I would just bid 3 spades and
me too.
Sort of live with it if partner raises on honor. If partner raises on Queen of 1 or Ace in 1, I'm really not that against that. I mean, I'm a little worried about a heart ruff, but I don't think that this is enough to really, especially with the stiff diamond.
I think you're worried about a partner being like 2-2. Is that 2-2-5-4? Is that, or 2-2-4-5? Yeah, I don't see the downside really. I mean, they might have. I mean, I see there's obviously some downside. Partner, you're worried about partner not having a heart stopper, and not having a spade fit, and not being so over 3 spades they're gonna not be able to bid 3 no, and they're not gonna be able to bid 4 spades. I would guess that hand's just not.
It's not very likely.
Yeah,
You could just solve this problem by making a distinction between a direct three spades and going 2-no, 3 clubs, 3 spades.
Well, I think there is a distinction between those. One of them's forcing, and one of them's invitational. I think in regular 11. So
in standard 11,
that 2-no followed by 3 spades would be an invite, and direct 3 spades would be forcing.
Yeah.
Right. I'm saying you could solve this problem by changing that to have a stopper showing implication, but you lose the invitational hand with spades, meaning.
But there is actually something to be said for that. I mean, I sort of have the general theory that in competition, invitational hands are always the first to go, and there's definitely something to be said for that, especially in these auctions where they're overcalling 2 of a major, and you're sort of pressed for room to get to 3-0. But so then.
Yeah, like what would I have done if I was 2-3-4-4 with no heart stopper in this sequence?
Well, you would have bid 2-0 over double.
Didn't 3 hearts double and 3 hearts show a heart stopper or not?
I mean, I see that it does now, but this is not an auction I'd ever seen before. So.
Yeah.
What does the show, right?
It was messy, but you guys untangled it well.
Yeah, and landed on our feet.
Yeah, exactly, and. And you even made an extra trip.